Should I just light a match? It runs bad. Dan here, DD Speed Shop. Today, people have been asking about it non-stop. 47 Chevy. We're gonna try and take it out of the weeds here. I've had this car for a long time. Has been on the road in many years. But first, we have to make space for it. For two, it's on airbags, and the rabbits like to eat all the little air lines. And I'm assuming it's gonna be a pain to A, get it running, and B, get it aired up. But hopefully we can get it out, get it in the garage. But let's make some space first. So we're in the old garage. I'm attempting to clean up, making piles of keep, throw out, sell, whatever it may be, taking shelving down, trying to make as much room in here as I can. I'm like, if I hold it and I don't love it, it's gotta go. I cleaned out between the garages big time, and inside the new shop, we've cleaned it up pretty good as well. Now, what we have to do, this garage has somehow turned into a parking garage, which I saw it the other day and I was like, this isn't gonna fly. But we need, oh, it's stupid. We need more space. Now both these cars have car covers and they will live outside. This is our issue. So we have this little Sebring kit car. I've kind of lost interest in it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it just yet. I tried to sell it. Nobody wanted to give me like anything for it. So we'll use it for something. It's got a good frame, it's got this and that. Who knows what we're gonna do? But I think what I wanna do is I actually wanna store the Cobra there. We still got lots of parking there, and get in the garage. Look how clean it is in here though, all the room we have. Problem is we have to get that little Healy back here somewhere. Beside the Model A maybe? So I gotta start cleaning up stuff here and see if we can get it through the fence. There should be 6 inches of space, and then somehow twist it and push it and let it sit there. I think to do that I'm gonna take all the fiberglass off so I don't ruin the body, and then we'll jockey it nicely with the Bobcat. Everybody needs a Bobcat. I wish I had the tow truck still, but whatever, it is what it is. So we got some stuff to move, garbage to throw out, stuff to go through, and then yeah, get after it. Okay, the little screwing around, just move these two motors. I don't know what I'm doing with these things. That one's got some stuck valves. This one's a good runner, but it's a straight 6. I have grandiose ideas, maybe putting this in the Model A. I don't know. I mean, the air filter's on it. I put a piece of carpet on it, so it keeps all the water out, right? This is all the room we have. Now, ultimately, there's lots of room here. The problem is this fence. And that car, I gotta measure lengthwise. I think the problem is gonna be getting it in and then kind of shoop, pushing her over. But if it's just a frame, I'm thinking we can either hook the Bobcat up and lift it real high, kind of push around. There's a motor in it in the front, but if we kind of put the back up or do something, or if we just kind of push it in and try and push over as much as we can, I leave the Bobcat here, the Bobcat can kind of align it and pull it over and whatever we have to do. Unfortunately, for that to happen, we have to have everything kind of lined up and then push it by hand in, and there is no steering on that thing. It has all the steering components, but there's nothing to hold it straight, I believe. So maybe I can screw around. So it's kind of a catch-22. Do you use the Bobcat to get it all straightened out there, or use the Bobcat in here? It's kind of a no-win situation. I guess a guy needs 2 Bobcats or a tow truck. So let's get the camera set up. I'm going to see if I can wheel this thing out just a little bit. I might have to Bobcat it away from the fence. I think I pushed it in with the Bobcats. There's gravel and stuff everywhere. It's on a set of rollers, like those little hockey skate kind of deal rollers. We'll uncover it. I'm going to take all the body off, take all the stuff out of it, and we'll probably put it all back in there after. But to move it, bare chassis. That's the plan. So we got kind of half the body off. I'm gonna swing it out, put the Bobcat in there. So if anybody's new here or whatever, I bought this in last year, I guess, maybe, I don't even remember. So it's a Sebring kind of kit car, and I had grandiose ideas of building it the way I wanted so I'd fit it better than this Cobra. And then I thought, turns out I like Cobras. Tried to sell it, nobody's really interested in it. I wasn't trying to give it away because I did have some money in it. But now my thoughts are, so this is, life's all about timing. Before I bought this kit, there was a Cobra body, a ratty fiberglass body for sale for like $700. I should have bought it, I didn't. It was like, I think it had a hood, missing the doors, all sorts of things. And this frame and all that is very similar to what the Cobra is. I mean, similar. It's, I think, an inch or two longer wheelbase. So you can fudge that or cut or weld or whatever we gotta do. But my dream is now, I keep this, maybe I'll find a Cobra body, and we can make like the world's cheapest, rattiest Cobra body, or Cobra, whatever you wanna call it. Make like a burnout car or whatever it may be. Or it'll sit for years and years and years till somebody decides they want it. But for now, it's kind of a roller. There is a motor in it. I was getting geared up to do a few things with it. So it's got a 4-link in it. I redid the whole front suspension. It's all new. It's got just a junk small block in it. I was going to do tunnel ram. It's got a 4-speed. It's kind of cool, but ultimately, just not for me right now. Brand new brakes. I thought I was more motivated to work on this thing, and I just kind of fell on its face. And then it was either do a bunch of body work. There's a lot of goofy body lines on this. The real issue is, if a guy didn't already have a Cobra, he'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool, but it'll never be as cool as this thing. And, well, that's all there is to it. So, I think I'm gonna put the Bobcat back there so it's in position. We'll start rolling, take the front off, see how much I can push it back, and then probably have to lift it off these dollies. But I think the Bobcat will probably do that in the back. Roll as far as we can on the concrete. The real issue we're going to run into, we have the width, but this thing is, well, the wheelbase isn't, but frame to frame tip is, I think, 12.5 feet, and post to stairs is 11. So, but how hard can it be? We got heavy equipment and no patience. There we have it. Got a little rammy, but overall it went pretty good. I might have to suck it over just a little bit, or I mean, whatever. I want to put the body on this thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. The body does hang out past the tires now that I think about it, but we'll just kind of jumble it all together. I took the intake manifold off, so it's a dual quad setup, small block, which I'll probably use. I just threw all the parts in here. I might have an intake manifold or something we can put on there. Carburetor, so there's some pry bars. I'm gonna get all my stuff out of here and then just kind of toss the body back on. We can tarp it and it'll be okay. This motor is nothing fancy. This is the one that came in a square body Chevy truck I got years ago, and it had a burnt valve, so I put a valve in it, and I think I honed that one, or I seated the one seat, I guess I should say. So it wasn't anything special, but it does run, so it's, you know, no point leaving it out in the rain. So maybe even just a garbage bag over the motor, put the body hood on, and then we'll put a tarp on top. So it'll be as it's gonna be. Oh, so I just put it under nice. There's still lots of room here. I'm getting in and out, no problem. I can, you know, jockey the motors right there. And then we got all this extra room for activities. So again, Cobra can go right here. It'll fit on that side of the crack, and then there's still lots of room to get cars in and out, such as 47 Chevrolets. And yeah, I don't know where we're gonna put this thing. We'll figure it out. I'm really, so now, I should ask you guys. I've done a bunch of cleaning here, I've got rid of stuff and everything. The problem is, this is a decently sized 2-car garage, but it's kind of on the cusp. But I have 2 cars in here and I'm working on them. I feel like I'm just cramped. 1 car in here becomes huge. So I'm thinking maybe just leave this one side for wrenching and leave, like, you know, a lot of room, probably about this much, enough you could pull an axle out without hitting the wall if you wanted to. Then this side is obviously no big deal. And then maybe here I could even just make a little L with a bench and work tools and, you know, fab stuff and all that. I mean, I don't know. It's like a legitimate shop in here now. It's getting there. So I'm gonna smooth those fiberglass, the body real quick. Might have a quick break. It's a little hot out all of a sudden. And go from there. I don't want to leave all this shit out for the neighbors to see now that I think about it. So let's put it all away. All right, so Cobra's out. We got 1 stall open. I mean, this is what I'm talking about now. So I mean, really, there's 1 car here. Look at all the space we have for activities and screwing around and all that. Man. Yeah, just kind of toss these motors back here. Throw a piece of carpet on them so you know they're good. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get that a little bit better down the road. We got a little fiberglass. I want to kind of jam that all in there and tarp it all up. And it's getting a little tight here, but still get through. Let's be honest, that's what storage is for. Fill it full of junk. What else was I gonna say there? I gotta make a decision, I guess, with this car, what I'm gonna do with it. I mean, obviously, if it's, we still got time, but once it snows, that thing ain't moving. That'd be a pain. Cobra here, I'm gonna cover it real quick. We can still park kind of 2 cars. The truck won't fit, but a couple of Tri-5s, no problem if we wanted to. But really, leave this open, we can still get cars in and out. I'll probably move this to the other side, car cover it, or I mean, maybe it could just sit here actually, but this is where the 47 has to go. Hopefully it runs. Well, running I'm not concerned about, air ride I am, and we don't have a tow truck, so it's hard to get stuff going. We can move stuff with the Bobcat, I guess, but I'd rather it just fire up and run, go from there. But I'm gonna clean up a little bit, throw some of this garbage out. We'll go put eyes on that 47. I don't know where the keys are. I hope they're in it. If they're not in it, we have more problems than that. And I was gonna get a jerry can with some fuel in it. Just, you know, bottle feed it down the carburetor, get it kind of fired up and all that. I don't know the last thing a thing is run, but a little fresh fuel never hurt anybody, right? All right, let's get cleaned up, see where we end up. Look at that, garage is empty. Now, I was going to get some gasoline. Instead, I didn't. Fortunately, the ragtop leaked a little bit of gasoline. I put this pan under it, and I have this McDonald's cup. So I'm thinking, if I'm just real gentle, and I don't get too much of the junk out of there, well, maybe I'll run a sock through that. But really, it'll be a little bit of oil in there. It's basically like a 2-stroke blend. Just don't want any rocks in it. We're gonna grab some jumper cables, battery, Keys were in it, I checked. Make sure it's got oil in it. And I mean, it should fire up. Then we got the stupid air system to deal with. But maybe we'll be lucky. Maybe after 2 years, it just didn't screw up. I'll see you over there. We'll get screwing around. Did you guys really think I was gonna use this gas? Come on, I wouldn't do that. But what I will do, see, I got these paint strainers. I think Trucker Bob sent me these. And another McDonald's cup. Oh, no. No, it's just a little dirt, it's fine. I think I need the water. Isn't that just ethanol? Like there's water and fuel anyways now? We'll just go ahead and filter that. All the junk we don't want. Oh, there actually was a fair bit of junk in there. Probably a good thing we did filter it. Oh yes, we got nice clean fuel. It's like Mad Max. All right, so we're out here. You know, I always wonder how long a car sits before it becomes like a legitimate, will it have to start and what are the issues going to be and all that. And clearly, this one's been sitting a bit of a time, but oh, I left the dipstick out too. Really, all we're going to do is make sure it has some oil in it. And by looks of it, it's got an HEI distributor and newer, I'm struggling, plug wires. I remember these headers were a hassle. Oh yeah, that doesn't look that bad. So that's fine. The battery's clearly going to be dead. I did disconnect it, so that's not too terrible. Oh, that was a little sheezed. That's fine. So this motor was out of like a 70 C10, I believe. It is on the ground. Wow. Okay, well, see if we can get this battery connected. That junk here is unbelievable. Get this hooked up. We're mostly just doing this for show because there's no way there's any jam in it. But we got a fresh battery on the ground, which we stole out of the wagon. Put that in storage a little while ago. Get this Leatherman on real quick. There we go. Son of a... Dual terminals. Somebody was thinking. Okay. So now... I'm sure it's going to be low in transmission oil. I'm sure it's going to be all sorts of problems, but we'll just see if it'll spark to life. Put all this filtered fuel down on the vent. That is rough looking. 2-stroke, eh? I'm hoping there's fuel in this thing. Let's give her a little douse. Okay. We'll get this hooked up. I'll change the camera so it's on sound on this, not just me talking. So I hooked the battery up and I just heard the compressor kick on. So I'll turn that off to kill the battery. See if it'll fire. That sounds like that battery is dead. These trees are really in the way here. Oh, I thought I had this dialed. I don't want to lug another battery across the yard. New plan. Well, it's actually just a ways later. I put that one on the charger and I put cables on it. There's a little bit more on this connector. A little in there. I'm confident now. Something will happen. I hope. Oh yeah, we're good. Okay. off whatever was kind of dumped in there. I did see the oil pressure go up. Get water in this thing. It's moist. Must be there's something in there. Give me one of those, see if I can fire it up. We man the controls from the outside here. It's not picking fuel up, obviously. Ah. Accelerator pump, which you'd think it would have something. I did fill up the vent. Smoky. Left foot. Ugh. Okay, so it's running. Now it's bagged, obviously, on the ground. Now, let me just show you here. The compressor's on. Ugh, you can hear it. So this one here is supposed to be compressor. It's not working. These outer two are bagged. I put a little bit of air in the front, and we got one bag in the back, so that's fine. Let's see if it'll... Oh, I can feel the back airing up a little bit. The front's not quite there. It's pretty dark here, but we'll see if we get a little more air in it. Man, that's terrible. 30 pounds oil pressure, 12 volts. It was charging when I revved it. Temperature gauge is working, 120 or so degrees. I think we're doing okay. Oh, we got tunes? No, maybe not. I don't remember I put a radio in this thing. So we'll let it run for a bit. We'll let the compressor charge. See if we can hoist the front. Man, this thing is dirty. I have to wash it a little bit. It does have these 80s comfort seats in it. This thing was a real nice ride. Air ride, nice seats. Man, the wiring. Well, I'll explain what my holdup of this car is when we get out of it. Okay, so I had to do a bunch of screwing around. The air ride stopped working. So I was tracing wires and stuff like that. You know what it was? So I have it running through like an old Ford solenoid. So in, out, and there's a little trigger wire. The friggin' solenoid screwed up. So I just ran jumper cables to hot wire it. So now we're going. We'll let it sit for a little bit. But I'm thinking, next time you see this thing, we'll try and lift it up. I put a little bit of air in, it was not working. So I'm thinking she may be a little seized into the soil. But if we can get that under control, then all we gotta do is transmission oil probably. And if we can get it up, so we have one bag dead in the back, so be it. The main, the gauge that shows how much air is in the tank is not reading, so probably there's a hole in it. So I just vice grip that close so it's not a leak. It does have a pressure switch, hopefully it works, on the tank, so it goes to like 200 PSI. And it should shut off. Well, I guess it won't shut off because I have them hot wired. It'll bleed. Yeah, we'll have to do a little screwing around here. This is definitely a little kind of goofy. So I'll let that run. We'll get the front bags up, I'll unhook that, see if we can get some transmission oil in it, take the fence down, drive her out, then I'll show you everything when we're in the, not in the wild. Look at this, it's in the city. Looks like we're in the jungle. Okay, we got the compressor ripping. Car's not running, but we'll see if it'll air up. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. I think we're set, so start taking the fence down. Oh, we gotta check transmission level. Okay, at this point, it has fluid in it. Let's see if it'll go forward and back. If it does, I think it's ready to go on a road trip. Runs all right. I'm gonna let it idle, charge the battery up. Seems like it's hitting on all 8 now. I'll take the fence down and then maybe give it a quick wash. A little dirty, but then yeah, drive her in the garage. It's gonna be fun. So we got the fence down. It doesn't even look like it's that forgotten. So it's kind of running meh. It's definitely smoking a little bit, but we're gonna attribute that to just life. So I'm gonna back this thing out. We may have to stop for a thumbnail. I don't know if we have any flat tires. Oh no. Then you just ran out of gas? Ah, I did get a jerry can. I was trying to avoid it. A little bit of fresh gas never hurt anybody anyways. Should I just light a match? Ah. You know, everybody wanted to see the stupid 47 out. We'll see if it'll back out. I'm confident. Yeah, we should probably stop and do a thumbnail halfway out, eh? Damn it. Ow! Yeah. Appears though I'm stuck on something. The brakes are dragging or what? Wow. She's a little worse for wear, eh? Man, this poor car. So I think I'll just kind of... What's the worst that could happen? Put her in drop and down mode. won't do a burnout. It runs bad, but it looks cool. I'll air it out, eh? Maybe with a little bit less junk on it. Oh, you know what it needs? I have the center caps for it. That changes the look. Well, we'll dust this thing off maybe. Oh, I got the leaf blower. So you might need a little water. I mean, I tried, right? Well, I think I will vacuum it real quick. They'll have to shuffle some cars over there next door, run a bunch of water, clean it up. Then we'll talk about it. Actually, we can put it in here and everything. I'm ready for supper. Okay, so here we are. We're in the old chap. So that's where the water hose is. So we're gonna wash this thing around now. Just the Coles notes on it real quick. We can maybe get it all washed up, bring in the other guys to get under it. But it's a 47 Chev. It's on a G-body chassis. When I bought this thing, it was a basket case project as per usual. And here's why I have some sentimental value to this thing. When I bought the house we're in now, I was 18, 19. Sold, I had a couple hot rods. Sold everything, cashed everything in, and I didn't drive my grandma's car because I had to put the down payment down, so I sold everything, and then had a couple roommates and just yada yada yada. Anyways, life goes on. But I think within a year, I didn't have a hot rod, and this thing came up for a pretty reasonable price. It's at a local swap meet, and bought it. So it had a little 305 in it, nothing special, and it was just static dropped, or maybe it was even stock, I don't even know. But I drove the wheels off this thing, and then rod knocked the motor, so the motor was junk. At that point, I pulled it out, and I put a small block Chevy in it. I put a cam and all sorts of stuff in it, and rebuilt the transmission with a high stall. And then it became kind of racy, which I put Flowmaster mufflers on it. I didn't really care for that, but I drove the wheels off it still. Then I got the idea I wanted to put on airbags, so I did that. So put bags in all four corners, put a system in the back. We can go over that in depth once it's all cleaned up. Pulled the racy motor and trans out. I don't know where that went, somewhere. And this was a stock. There's a local outfit who does a lot of LS swaps. And this was the motor and transmissions that were in, it was like a 70, 71, 2, something like that, C10. And bought the whole shoot and match motor trans for, I don't know, $300, $400, $500, whatever it was. Runs good. I mean, you know, it's not a bone stock, nothing special. Set of headers on it, and that's it. And then the problem is, as the years went by, I started getting more cars, and then this one is kind of get put to the wayside, put to the wayside, put to the wayside, and it kind of sits, and I don't really get to it. So maybe it's time to drive it more. Again, very plain Jane. Inside, the problem is there's a lot of stuff that the guy who put this thing together, me, at 19 or 20 years old, kind of butchered, and such as all the wire. I mean, I'm not a wiring guru at the best of times, but my lord, just like it's rough times there. But again, hey, you can't be mad at the 20-year-old kid because he actually got the thing on the road, right? I put a heater in it, so the heater worked. All the glass is in it. It did smash the front window at one point. It's just got the carpet. Murr actually had this at his work. They were ripping apart a car, and it had the whole interior. So I took the carpet and stuff like that. You know, seats, front and back, all fit in there. I just made some door cards. I had front ones. I guess I was taking them off. So I did make some. And yeah, so I'm gonna start vacuuming this thing. Now the real issue I run into old half-ass, but I wanted to chop this thing. And his buddy Rolly has one that they chopped, and 46, 7, and 8's all the same. And realistically, even the 40, I don't know, 1, 2s, whatever, they're all kind of the same body style. Now there's 3 distinct body styles. There's this one, which is a 2-door sedan, which has the kind of hump. Then there's the, I don't even know what it's called, fancy style. I think this is a Fleet line. I think the Style Master's the fancier one. And the back curves like a big bubble, so there's no belt line. Those look good chopped. And then there's the 2-door coupes, which have like a small window and then a long trunk. And those look really good chopped. I fight this one out if I should chop it or not, or just kind of drive it as is. It's got the visor, which kind of gives it that look. I've seen a few of these chopped, and I haven't liked any of them because they whack them, they drop them straight down, then they look like a pancake, which I don't like. Now what Brent did with his buddy Rolly's is they cut out a bunch of stuff. They kind of bent the post forward and did some funny stuff there, which I enjoyed. Around here's another question. You know, you make that smaller, what do you do there? And then I think what they also did is they cut the glass out and lowered it and kind of leaned it in. So there's a lot of things there which I'd kind of like to do, but I'm not really 100% what the plan is. It does have kind of curved back glass. I don't know if that is an issue, or maybe just use the factory one and drop it down. So I got to figure a few things out as to what I want to do. Ultimately, get on the road, get it running and driving again, and then I don't think I'll be going in the backyard again. It'll get gravel storage or my buddy Mike's or something like that, so it won't just be completely forgotten about and lost and a hassle. It'll be somewhere we can put a battery in it and drive it after it gets a once over. I'm sure I'll need go through the brakes, go through the suspension and all that, but yeah. Let's vacuum this thing out. Danny's going to get some dish soap because it'll need a lot of washing. Yeah. This what? I mean, again, I guess a little bit of filler on there, but really, pretty solid car. For 47, holy moly, it's old. So it still needs like 6 more washes, but I figured I'd just show you. I had these, I don't know why I took these off. Something else, I guess. Oh yeah. But this right here is the look that I like. Well, it really needs a little bit of shine juice. You ready for this? That's pretty cool. You guys get the right view there? Oh yeah, you're set. So this thing, wow, just washing it's kind of cool. Anyways, got to have a dinner to go to. My brother's in town, so we're gonna go see him, go put this thing next door, let it air dry for a bit. We'll do a walk around when we get home maybe. Well, it's been a couple of days. I am out of order on videos, but I think that's just the way it goes when you're kind of trying to get a bunch of hot rods on the road. That well, you have too many hot rods, I should say. Anyways, you guys have asked about this thing till you're blue in the face, so hopefully you're enjoying this little series here, and hopefully we can kind of keep working on it. So it's running bad. Don't really know why. So I thought what we'd do is fire it up. I'm gonna pull the distributor cap off first, just see if that's all corroded up or whatever. It seems like it's not running all cylinders, or it's not getting fuel, or something is just unhappy with it, and we'll have to deal with that. I mean, it's got a quadrojet on it, so what could be the problem there? We'll see if that becomes an issue. I think I have a Holly on the wall we could toss on there. And like I said, we'll go through the ignition, just kind of give it a once over. It did run good. As I recall, I think this thing overheated, which was a bit of a hassle. This whole car is always a hassle. I've been battling overheating issues forever. I had the radiator record and all sorts of stuff like that. Never seemed to work. I've had electric fans. I've had all sorts of things on it. And now it looks like I just have a mechanical, no clutch, no nothing fan, no shroud on it. But anyways, I don't remember actually what the problems are. I guess I'm just kind of talking up my ass. Anyways, we'll see if we can get this thing running. Then we'll get it over on the lift, put up in the air, and see exactly what the deal is, because I'm gonna need airlines. I can probably get those tomorrow. See what the sizes are. I think it's like 1/8 maybe or something. I forget. I'll take it off. And it's like semi-truck stuff. That's what it is. I used to have a bunch of little stuff. I don't know where I put it. Probably threw it out because I'm an idiot. And we'll get it all kind of dialed together. And realistically, at that point, if it runs and drives, you can actually go enjoy it a little bit, do whatever, put a month of insurance on it. If you guys really want to see this thing, we'll work on it. And if not, we'll put it in storage somewhere else where it won't be completely forgotten about. But there you go. It's out. Looks kind of cool. Tires hold air. Yeah, I don't know. I got too many things on the go. I do like this car, and it's got that sentimental value to it. Danny liked this thing, as I recall. I don't quite remember. Driving the Cobra lots lately. Maybe it's time for that to go away, though. It's been like a month. Anyways, let's get set up, see what the deal is with this thing. Well, upon initial inspection, if it'll show up or not, but there's a lot of water in here, and I mean, I did spray it around, but not too terrible. So we'll blast that out, and then put it all back together, and see if it fixed all our problems. I'm confident that's all it ever was. As I recall, I'm an idiot, so that's a common thing we have here. But I had the hood up for some reason, and then it snowed or rained or whatever. And I think that at one point there was a bunch of snow in this thing, and that probably doesn't help the situation. But step one, we'll do that, and then if we have any other issues, we'll see if it's a fuel issue or whatever it may be. But keep it simple. It's always ignition. Okay, now the next problem we have, I don't know if it'll show up here on camera or not, or if you can hear it. There is no accelerator pump, like no one is home. So what it was doing is you get it revving, and if you held it up, it would free rev. But if you kind of gave it that pump shot, it would boom, boom, like it's got no accelerator pump. So quadrojet, eh? Where's Mr. Heavy Chevy? You need him. I think we'll take this off, see what it looks like, and then decide how much screwing around we want to do. And while it's off, we can also crank it over and see if we have fuel coming out of the fuel pump. That's a very simplistic thing, and make sure that's still working pretty good, and kind of go from there. But I think we have the ignition dialed. HEI with, I mean, at one point they were red, now they're pink wires, so you know those are good. I'm sure I put spark plugs in this thing at one point. So between all that, I don't really see what the issue is. So let's strip this thing off and see how ugly it is to fix an accelerator pump. I might just watch a YouTube video. It's really, YouTube's handy, eh? Support your local creator and leave a comment, because you never know when you're gonna need one. Carburetor's off. I gotta say, it's been a while since I've had a Rochester carburetor part, but kind of all came back to me. So these things, people kind of hate them. They are a little, I wouldn't say complicated, but you just gotta know kind of what you're doing. So fortunately, they're similar-ish to like an Edelbrock style. That's based on like a Carter AFB. This is not that, but there's some similarities. So take it apart. Ultimately, what the problem is, bad gas. Got everything all kind of jammed up. So I have it in pieces. Obviously, it's the top bit. This will be our float with our needle and seat in there. This here, these are your kind of primary metering rods. So those fit into your jets. And as you can see, look at that, just focus. Anyway, so it's supposed to be like, well, that one's like a spear. That one's got corrosion all over it, so we got to clean that all up. So that's not going to be great. This actually should free flow in and out. It was kind of stuck, so we'll clean that. Our main issue was, now this is a little funny. We'll have to play the imagine game. So fuel sits in here. This would be your bowl, if you want to look, like a Holly style. So the fuel sits in there. Our Nealon seat goes right in there, and as the float goes up and down, it allows fuel to come in. So that's how that works. Now over here, that's where our accelerator pump is. So that's the accelerator pump well. Now, actually I put this in some Marvel Mystery Oil because I don't have anything. All the accelerator pump is, it's like a plunger. So you see that blue boot. What happens is it goes in here, and as you squirt, it'll come out that little hole there. This one right there. Now, there's a spring and stuff like that goes with it. At the bottom of that well, there's a little orifice which goes over, and then in that hole, there's a little check ball which kind of controls, so it's a one-way deal. And this little piece has to be in there to close it. But I'll close it off, and then when you press down, fuel goes through there, and it comes up, I believe it's these ones. Fuel comes up here, and that's what gives you your accelerator pump shot. So that's all it is. It's a mechanically activated thing. It's like, when your lawnmower, you give it a little push button thing. That's all this is. Same idea, except it's mechanically done with the throttle and a lever. I can show you that once back on the car. Ultimately, it's full of junk. That's all it was to it. So I kind of play with it, blew it out there, a little carb cleaner, all that sort of stuff until we got it going. Now I'll show you. I'll just dispose of that properly. Look at the bottom of this carburetor. Like, this is all schmutz, which we don't really want in there. So I will clean that out. I'll blow everything out with air. We'll clean all the throttle blades and all that stuff up. Hopefully just put it back together, and that will solve our problem. So we had a twofold issue. Obviously ignition was one of them, clearly. And that was causing it to just kind of, miss or run, had no power, is missing on cylinders. This one here, obviously, it will free rev, but it won't transition. That's the big thing. So accelerator pump is very important. So I'm gonna clean this all up. There's a zillion videos. If you have quadrajet issues, by all means, go look at them. Like Mr. Heavy Chevy's like the expert on these things. I'm an amateur at best, but when something's broke, I have enough smarts to take it apart, clean it, and put it back together. Hopefully, I don't have a rebuild kit. That's would be nice. So I was really careful taking the gasket off, and like I said, we'll reuse a few of these things. There's definitely some corrosion on stuff. I believe you probably get a whole, well, at one point you get the whole new thing. Maybe now it's just a plunger or something like that. Everything's so freaking cheap. You can see like this spring actually fits in there, and that's what pushes the plunger back up. But corroded and gross and all that is. Like this all come off. Some of those like ultrasonic cleaners would be pretty slick, but yeah, I don't know. We'll clean everything up and we'll put it all back together and hope for the best. I only have one can of brake clean, so we got to use it sparingly, but I'm confident we'll get her dialed together. We also have gas, let's be honest. Gas is like nature's brake clean. I had to grab a spare Rochester out of the archives because I forgot how this one went back together. This little side part here it's got little levers and stuff like that, and essentially what happens is it won't let you go wide open up the kind of rear butterfly deal if the choke is on. So there's a little stopper that doesn't allow that to happen. But meanwhile, if you push that in, reset the throttle. Damn it, this is kind of a hassle. There we go. Then we got everything happening. I guess I could show you, eh? Yeah, so there you go. That's if I hold the choke open, and then if I don't, oh, gravity. There, wide open, but it stops the back butterflies, and that's all controlled on the side here. And this gibberish. So this little lock here, essentially, once the choke is open, that lock will kind of happen, and then that'll let the rear deals go, otherwise she locked up. So I believe this is back to factory spec. It's freaking nighttime, so of course that took longer than I thought. I'll put this back together. I just tested it. We do have some fuel kind of squirting through. Accelerator pump wise, I should just be 4 bolts, and we should be able to see if this thing runs. Then I think I'll leave it there for a night, and then first thing tomorrow after work, we can fire it up. Actually, you know what I should do as well? the friggin' air ride stopped working because this Ford solenoid is no bueno. So a new one of them from Princess Auto was definitely the key. But then we can get it up and kind of carry on from there. I would have liked to get all the stuff for the air ride tomorrow, but that'll have to be another day. Okay, so we got this unit all back together. Throttle doesn't stick. This is the choke deal, which is actually kind of neat. So it's got this little, like a thermal coil kind of deal. And as it gets heated up, it will open up and choke. Antique technology. Let's see if it runs. I mean, what's worse that'll happen? I just took it all apart. Had the electrical, or the ignition, and the fuel system. Ready? Oh, GPS speedo. Get a little. Oh yeah, runs way better. So I cranked the idle. Oh, maybe the choke's just working actually. We'll let this thing warm up a little bit. Maybe I'll jumper the air. Maybe we will move it over tonight. And we probably should, eh? Okay, so I decided we're gonna push this one more day. It's about 11:30. Firing up the Cobra, moving it around, trying to be the good neighbor. Trying. Anyway, as you can see now, the choke is open because this little thing has expanded, so the idle dropped down. That was all good. Seems to be running pretty decent. Put the temp gun on the header, so it was all fine. Man, this thing is kind of ratty. But it all works, and I think, so I was playing with the buttons. Everything works. The one, obviously, the passenger side rear bag keeps falling down, but it pumps up and then comes down. Pumps up and then comes down. So, and the gauge isn't reading. So the way this works is there is a line that goes from each valve, compressor to the tank, tank to the valve, valve to all four corners, and each corner has its own valve. That's how I plumbed this. And then each valve then has a little T-fitting in it, which runs a tiny little, I think it's 1/8 line up to the gauge. And without fail, rabbits or squirrels or whatever eat the little line. So the fact that it goes up and goes down slowly makes me think somewhere between that T and the gauge is obviously is a leak or a burn or whatever it is, and it's letting the bag out. It's slow because if you hit the button, it dumps it in a hurry, I think. So that's the plan. I'm going to take just a little bit of I'll take a couple pieces. I'll see if I can get some tomorrow from a semi place. I forget where I got all this stuff, air ride stuff. But if we can get that, we'll be good. Or worst case, I can probably just crimp it off and it'll be fine for now. Just won't have a gauge. But we'll do that, and then tomorrow we'll give this thing a once over. And now the run's good. We could plate it and drive it. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow too. New day. But I forgot to buy a solenoid, idiot. But what I did do is I got some miscellaneous line. Now this right here is what I'm talking about. So this is the main feed lines. And this is the lines that go to the gauges. We'll get under the car right away and show you. But I thought I would just give you a little bit of advice. So this line you can get off Amazon or wherever it may be. But this is truck stuff, like heavy truck stuff. So friggin' cheap. I love when you can incorporate big rig stuff into cars. This line here is 20 cents a foot. I don't care. It's 2023. Nothing is 20 cents a foot. So all this stuff was cheap. And then actually they had these little, I didn't know they had these little unions. These are push connect unions. So I don't have to replace the whole line. I can just kind of cut it and make it happen. So there you are. This is just airbag stuff. This is, I think, actually used for like the high-low shifter and all that on a big rig. That's what they use to do it, all air operated, or maybe even car airbags are probably this size as well, or air shocks, sorry. So we got everything cleaned up. That thing, hopefully it should still run. I disconnected the battery, but should be fine. Air up to one bag because she's all cattywampus, and run a couple of lines. We'll show this thing off underneath. Show 19-year-old Dan's fab skills. Pretty impressive stuff. And then I actually played this thing. The lady said I haven't played in 4 years, I think. So it's probably ready to go around the block. Put a jerry can of fuel in it, and what's the problem? It's actually also mine and Danny's anniversary today, so we're clearly gonna go take this thing and have it break down. So, as it turns out, the car is too low to fit on this ramp, so I just pushed it a bunch so I could just kind of muscle my way on there, but not the case. It was jacked it up, and I just got Danny out here. Well, she's gonna come out here and help me figure out which line is which. The mice or rabbits or something like that got to the line. I kicked a piece out, I think. Yeah. So there you go. So, chewed through. That will leak. So that's our problem. So I ran one new line, which we're gonna, because it was chewed up in a couple of spots to the tank, and then the line that goes. So again, that's the right rear airbag, and this is what runs the gauge. So it's just chewed up at the front. So I'm gonna put a couple of those quick connects in with maybe a little piece of hose, and kind of go from there. So this is the only part I don't really like about air ride, and ultimately I probably should just run this through the car, but that wasn't the case. And it's under the car, so I just feed a new one through. We'll plug it in, but I just need her to tell me which gauge is which, because someone didn't label anything. Shocker. Shocker. Well, there we go, look at it. It's all jacked up. We got a pile of air in the back, sitting all high. I ran out because I wanted to try and get a friggin' little like 3-pole like starter solenoid, and no one had anyone. 2 different places, so there's one that was across town, but it's rush hour, I'm not doing that. So I just kind of jumper it with this wire, which is clearly the wrong way of doing it. The way I have it wired, power going in, and then, I don't know if I explained it or not, this blue wire right here, that is connected to the pressure switch, so that controls on and off to the compressors in the back, to the tank, and then I have it on a master toggle. So here, the rule is you can have air ride or hydraulics, I believe, but you have to have it so when you're driving, it's off. So I have a master toggle, it just kills everything. So whatever you're at, you're at. But clearly we've been out for, an hour, and it's all good. So I think that's probably where we're gonna leave it. Well, we might as well set up and have it go up and down or whatever, but if you guys wanna see more of this thing, let me know. I wanna go test out that carburetor, see if it's any good. So we will drive it. There'll be another video of driving it, obviously. If that's all it goes to hell, I do have a Holly. I have an intake manifold. We can kind of make it a little more hot roddy, put a set of valve covers on it. Just, make the top end look a little nicer than it is, because it's pretty junk. But weld the hood closed, no one will know the difference. And we go over the chassis and stuff like that. Any questions you guys have? This thing's been sitting forever. Like I said, I've had it probably 15 or so years, if not more. I never drive it. So we'll get it out, put some miles on it, see what it needs. Maybe go through the front end, go through the brakes and all that, see how it drives. And that's that. I mean, it's a cool car, but how many cool cars does a man need? Trick question, it's all of them. Let's get the tripod and we'll run this thing up and down a few times, because that is the coolest part of this hot rod. Okay, so this is the thing sitting ridiculously high, which no one would ever drive like this because it looks stupid. I don't remember what pressures I used to run it at, but let's see if we can kind of, I think the back was, dropping. I kind of think about here is where we can get away with actually driving it, and nothing, the steering doesn't rub anywhere. I'll just stand back with you guys. How does this look? Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. So that's about where I think we go, and the front, obviously we play with that going over bumps and whatnot. This thing has 14-inch rims on it, which I know is kind of lame, but the smaller tire allows for more steering. So catch-22 there. But realistically, this is the cool part. You show up somewhere and you just dump it right in the ground. I don't care who you are. This is freaking awesome. So that works. Looks pretty cool. How's it on camera? Oh yeah. So that's pretty much that. The back's at the end of its travel and the suspension. Nothing we can really do about that. The front, it will go lower, but headers are actually on the ground right now. So you can put like a piece of paper between the fender and the ground, but hey, what are you gonna do? I always wanted to have it where you could drop the back end down and throw sparks, but that requires a little bit of screwing around, and this is good enough for me. I love it. It drives nice, and realistically, it drives like an 80s G body, you know, with drop spindles on it. That's it. So it's mint. Other than I never drive it, I don't know why. I don't know why I said all those things. Anyways, we're gonna keep looking for that solenoid. It's gonna be going maybe later tonight or tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Put it together, drive the thing a little bit. If it drives like crap, I'm not screwing with that Rochester carburetor, because by the time you buy a rebuild kit and all that sort of stuff, I have enough stuff here, guaranteed. I got gaskets, intake manifold, I got a carburetor, you know, we got some valve covers, like we got everything we need here to make this thing redo the top end, and then maybe I'll drive it a little more, right? Spend a few bucks on it. When you've fallen out of love with your hot rod, spend money on it. Maybe you'll fall back in love with it. There we have it. That's really it for now, and this video we'll be back at it, you know, tomorrow or the next day. We'll see. Maybe I'll just change that top end just because. Why have carburetors sitting around when you can put them on something? So yeah. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Do me a huge favor, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And hopefully you want to see more of this vehicle and content on it. I brought it out for you guys. I would have forgot about it. So this is on you, Internet. See you on the next one.